The officer just asked you the same question a second time, and your whole body is tensing up. You're about to cave and say something that will make everything so much worse. Have you ever changed your answer or started rambling because an officer kept pushing the same question? Drop a yes or no in the comments right now. You are not the only one. Here is what most people do wrong. When an officer repeats a question, most drivers read it as a sign that their first answer was not good enough. So they try again. They add more details. They explain themselves further. And every single extra word is a new piece of information that was never required in the first place. This is exactly where things fall apart. A repeated question is not always about getting a clear answer. Sometimes it is a deliberate tactic. Officers are trained to ask the same question more than once to see if your story changes, if you add something new, or if pressure alone makes you say something you would not have said otherwise. Most drivers have no idea this is even a thing. They think a repeated question means they gave the wrong answer. So they try harder. They get more detailed. They start explaining things from the beginning, and that is exactly what the technique is designed to make them do. The pressure of a repeated question feels personal. It feels like the officer does not believe you. It feels like you need to convince them. But here's the truth. You do not owe anyone a more detailed explanation just because they ask again. Your first answer either covers what you are legally required to share or it does not. Repeating the question does not change that. Most drivers also panic because silence after a repeated question feels like guilt. They think that a prepared, innocent person would just answer. But a prepared person knows that their rights do not disappear just because someone asks twice. Staying consistent is not suspicious. It is smart. Here is what is really at stake. If you change your answer under pressure, you now have two different versions of the same story on the body cam. That inconsistency can be used against you later in ways that have nothing to do with the original reason for the stop. One extra sentence said under pressure can turn a simple traffic stop into something much more complicated. I have gone through hundreds of real traffic stop recordings. I have studied body cam footage, reviewed court documents, and looked at real driver testimonies from across the country. And in case after case, I see the same thing. The driver handled the first question fine. Then the officer asked again. And the driver broke. They added something new. They changed a detail. And that small change became the pivot point of the entire encounter. I want to make sure that never happens to you. Before we get into the 5 moves, I want to be upfront with you. Everything in this video is for educational purposes only. It is not legal advice, and I am not your lawyer. I'm someone who has studied this material deeply and wants you to walk into every stop prepared. But if you are dealing with a real and serious legal situation right now, please reach out to a licensed attorney in your state. They are the right person to help you. Okay, now let us get into it. Here is the first move, and this one is the foundation you need before anything else works. The biggest mistake most drivers make when a question gets repeated is assuming they gave the wrong answer the first time. That assumption alone causes the problem. You start second-guessing yourself. You start wondering what the officer wants to hear, and you shift from giving your honest response to trying to craft a better one on the spot. Trying to craft a better answer under pressure almost always backfires. You stumble. You add details that contradict what you said before. And now you look inconsistent even if you were completely honest both times. The pressure of the moment makes it nearly impossible to improve on the spot. The move here is to repeat your original answer without adding anything new. Stay flat. Stay calm. Do not elaborate. Say exactly this. Officer, my answer is the same as before. I have told you what I know and I do not have anything to add. That sentence does something very precise. It signals that you heard the question the second time, that you are not ignoring the officer, that your position has not changed. It does not sound evasive, it sounds steady. And steady is exactly what you want to sound like on a body cam recording. A person who gives the same calm answer twice looks consistent. A person who keeps adding new details looks nervous and unreliable. Consistency is your armor. Wear it every single time. Now this next one is where most people completely fall apart. The officer repeats the question, but this time they add a little pressure to it. They say something like, "Come on, I need a straight answer, or you already told me part of it. Just finish the story." This kind of framing is designed to make you feel like you are already committed to a conversation that you now need to finish. Like you opened a door and now you have to walk all the way through it. You did not open any door. A partial answer to a question does not obligate you to keep going. An officer asking you to finish a story does not mean you are legally required to finish it. You are allowed to stop at any point and hold your position. Most drivers do not know that. They feel trapped by the idea that stopping mid-conversation makes them look guilty. It does not. Stopping and holding firm is a completely legal and reasonable thing to do at any moment. Say exactly this. I understand what you're asking. I have shared what I am comfortable sharing, and I would like to speak with an attorney before I say anything further. That line is calm and it is final. It tells the officer you heard them and understood them. It does not dismiss them or talk down to them, but it firmly closes the door on any further questioning without legal guidance. Your right to ask for an attorney is protected. That right comes from the Sixth Amendment. The Sixth Amendment means you cannot be forced to answer questions that could hurt you legally without a lawyer present if you have asked for one. You are not closing down the conversation because you are hiding something. You are closing it down because you are smart. Is this video giving you a completely different way of thinking about traffic stops? If it is, you are part of a growing group of drivers who are learning what most people never get. Taught. Drop a comment and let the community know that this video is reaching people who need it. Every comment helps more drivers find this information. We are building something real here together. Now let us keep going. Here's the third move, and this one is about keeping your body language and your words saying the same thing. Here's something most people never think about. When an officer repeats a question and you start to feel uncomfortable, your body shows it before your mouth even opens. You shift in your seat, you look away, you take a long breath before you answer. All of that is visible on the body cam. And when your body language looks nervous right before you change your answer, the combination looks very bad. The problem is that most drivers focus only on what they are saying. They forget that how they are saying it matters just as much. A calm phrase delivered with a shaking voice and darting eyes does not land the same way as the same phrase delivered with steady eye contact and still hands. You need a phrase that is short enough to deliver calmly even when you are feeling pressure. Say exactly this: I am calm, and I am being consistent. My answer has not changed, and it is not going to. That sentence is short enough to say without stumbling. It is direct, and it names exactly what you are doing, which is being calm and consistent. Naming those two things out loud actually helps reinforce them in your own mind, while also sending a clear signal to the officer. It is almost like a reset button. You say the words, your brain hears them, and your body follows. Short words. Delivered calmly, beat long explanations, delivered nervously every single time. I want you to stop for just a second. Think about who in your life gets behind the wheel every single day without any of this knowledge. A parent, a sibling, a best friend, your teenager who just passed their driving test. They are out there right now, and if they got pulled over today, they would have none of these tools. Share this video with them right now before you move on. Not later, right now. Pause, send it, and come back. This is the kind of information that changes how someone handles one of the most stressful moments of their life. Here's the fourth move, and this one covers what to do when the officer tries a slightly different version of the same question. Sometimes officers will not repeat the exact same words. Instead, they will reframe the question slightly to see if a different angle gets a different answer. They might ask the same thing, but from a different direction. Where were you headed becomes what were you doing in that area. It sounds like a new question, but it is going after the same information. Most drivers fall for this completely. Because it sounds different, they feel like it deserves a fresh answer. So they engage with the new version as if the old version never happened. And now they have answered two questions that were really the same question, often with slightly different details. That inconsistency is exactly what the reframe was designed to produce. The move here is to recognize the pattern and name it calmly. Say exactly this: I think we have covered this area already, officer. I'm not going to answer variations of the same question. I would like to know if I am free to go. That response does three important things. It shows you recognized what just happened without being confrontational about it. It holds your position clearly. And it asks the one question that matters most at that stage of a stop: whether you're being detained or free to leave. Being detained means the officer has a legal reason to hold you. Being free to go means the stop is over. You have the right to know which one applies to you, and asking that question is always the right move when a stop feels like it is going in circles. Recognizing a reframed question and calling it out calmly is one of the most powerful moves a prepared driver can make. Here is the fifth and final move. And this one is about what happens when the repeated questioning shifts into something that feels more like an interrogation. Sometimes a traffic stop starts to feel different. The questions get more pointed. The officer's tone changes. They start asking about things that have nothing to do with the original reason for the stop. And every time you answer, they pivot to another question. It stops feeling like a routine stop and starts feeling like you are being investigated for something you do not fully understand yet. Most people try to talk their way through this moment. They think that if they just keep answering honestly, eventually the officer will be satisfied and let them go. But in a situation like this, more answers do not lead to freedom. They lead to more questions. And the more you answer, the more material exists in that conversation for the officer to work with. This is the moment where one phrase needs to lock everything down completely. Say exactly this: Officer, I have been cooperative and I have provided my documents. I'm not going to answer any more questions without an attorney present. Am I being detained or am I free to go? That statement is the complete package. It acknowledges your cooperation up to that point. It draws a hard line on further questioning. It invokes your right to legal counsel clearly and calmly. And it ends with the most important question of the entire stop. Asking whether you are detained or free to go forces the officer to make an official decision. If they say you are free to go, the stop is over. If they say you're being detained, they now have to justify that officially. Either answer works in your favor because you have taken back control of the interaction. One complete sentence can shut down an escalating stop and put you back in the driver's seat. You now know something that most drivers will never know. Let us go through all 5 moves one final time so they are fully locked in. The first move was about holding your original answer and not adding anything new when a question gets repeated. You learned that consistency on a body cam protects you and that elaborating under pressure almost always makes things worse. The second move was about handling added pressure when the officer pushes harder and tries to make you feel like you need to finish a story you already started. You learned that you can stop at any point and that asking for an attorney is your protected right under the 6th Amendment. The third move was about keeping your body language and your words in sync. You learned a short phrase you can deliver calmly even under pressure, and you learned that naming what you are doing, staying calm and consistent, actually reinforces it in your own mind. The fourth move was about recognizing when an officer reframes the same question in a new way. You learned to name the pattern calmly, hold your position, and ask whether you are being detained or free to go. The fifth move was about locking everything down when a stop starts to feel like an interrogation. You learned the complete phrase that acknowledges your cooperation, closes off further questioning, invokes your right to a lawyer, and demands a clear answer about your status. You're not helpless in that situation anymore. You walked into this video as someone who might have cracked under a repeated question. You are walking out with 5 exact responses that keep you steady, protected, and in control no matter how many times the same question gets asked. Most drivers will never have these tools. They will keep breaking under pressure. They will keep adding details that hurt them. They will keep mistaking a repeated question for proof that they did something wrong. You are done being that driver. And that matters more than most people realize. Here's your challenge. The next time a traffic stop gets uncomfortable and you feel the pressure of a repeated question, use one of these 5 responses, just one. Say it clearly, stay calm, and hold your ground. Then come back here and drop a comment. Tell me what the officer said. Tell me how you held up. Tell me what the outcome was. Your story is valuable. It helps other drivers who are still figuring this out see that these phrases actually work in real situations. This community gets stronger every time one person shares what happened to them. You have the knowledge. You have the words. The only thing left is to use them when the moment comes. Know your rights. Own the moment. Drive protected.